Does your shoulder hurt when you grip? Do you think that if you grip or while you are holding something, your shoulder might also hurt? Today, I'm going to show you how to bulletproof your shoulder via the grip. Now, one of the things is, when we're talking about bulletproofing, what do we mean? That word is tossed out a lot. Let me explain bulletproofing to you in just 1 second. First of all, welcome to the Anatomy of Therapy. I'm Dr. John Cybulski. We explain exercises to help you meet your goals. Those goals today are bulletproofing the shoulder. We know what the shoulder is basically. I said we're going to go through the grip because grip and shoulder pain go together all the time, right? But what's this other word, bulletproofing? What do you mean bulletproofing? Bulletproofing is essentially a hedge on the future, right? Someone puts a bulletproof vest on. I don't put a bulletproof vest on, but people who protect our community do, because there's a chance a bullet might hit them there, and this vest is a hedge against that. So these exercises with the wrist will strengthen up the shoulder. There's plenty of research on it. I'll kind of explain that in a second as well. But the idea is that especially with pain isn't always there. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. There's not a lot of consistencies. One of the main consistencies I've seen as a doctor treating patients for the last 10 years is that grip is highly associated with shoulder pain. And if you could just get your grip up, your shoulder would be a lot more stable, because we've done a lot of things for the shoulder. If you've done a bunch of things for the shoulder, let's try out some grip stuff. Today, I'm going to show you a bunch of grip exercises, and we'll explain a little bit more what bulletproofing means as we go through this. But let's go through a couple of these. So these are going to be forward squats, and then we're going to do backward squats. This is radial and ulnar deviation. We'll go through it more. We're going to talk about some other components with it. More radial and ulnar deviation with a weight. This is obviously going to have to do with your shoulders. Alternating twist, grip and catch, catch and loose, catch and let go, catch and grabs. And then we're rolling up the water bail. We're doing flexion extension. Then this one as well, and this one as well. We're going to go through all of these. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. The first one is going to be, this radial and ulnar deviation. So first of all, I wanted to make sure you see how he's gripping the weight. That pinky is flush down to this side of the bell. He's got some open space here at the top. This is the correct way to hold it. The middle of your hand, your knuckle should be kind of right down the middle of the weight. So make sure you grab it correctly. And then what you're gonna do is let it flex down and pull it back up. Flex down and pull it back up. This is also great for people with wrist pain. I had a couple suggestions for videos. If you guys have suggestions for videos, comment below, hit the like button. Trying to slip that in. But this was a suggestion. So people often with wrist pain will have wrist pain either under the thumb side or under the pinky side. Typically when you're gripping, you'll lose your grip and have to deviate one way and just hang out on the joint. And that's not good. That's when the stress and the shear force goes up into your shoulder, or it goes the other way, you strain there. So what we want to do is make sure we get the bulletproof our radial and ulnar deviation. So we're going to do that in a couple ways. We're doing the eccentric on the ulnar, concentric on the radial, and then we're going to go to a little bit more reactive. Grip is very reactive. You ever feel like you grab something and then like you get shot? This is very important. This is also going to be a great shoulder warm-up for the back of your shoulders. So not only is having to grip it, but as his arm goes forward, the back of his shoulders get a nice little stretch. So this is just a great warm-up for those of you who are lifters. Obviously, this is an Olympic lifter. You don't have to be an Olympic lifter to want to warm up your grip and your shoulders. But the repetitive nature of this will get those muscles firing. The muscles of the hand, the intrinsic muscles, the small muscles of your hand, don't really get massive. You can get bigger forearms, sure, but the little muscles of your hand, not so much. The little muscles of your hands, we've talked about muscle fibers before. Big muscles like your quads have like 20 to 30 muscle fibers per. That's great, they're strong. Your hands have close to 200 muscle fibers per. So they're just very sensitive. They work because they're fast. Obviously they're sensitive, they need to sense things. And so this is working on making sure that you can sense things with your hands, and then you add some strength and repetition. We know bulletproofing is strength and repetition. Okay, so we've done radial and ulnar ranges of motion. We've added weight. And now we're gonna do flexion and extension. So we put a band around a bar, we get a band around a kettlebell, and we roll it up. All of these grip exercises are kind of easy, or will seem easy at first. Grip work, you need to do like 100 reps. I'm not kidding. Like, you need to go until it kind of burns out. The forearm muscles, they're endurance muscles, so you have to train them in an endurance way, which is where you need to get a lot of reps in. I mean, 10 reps is really not going to cut it for these forearm exercises. But this one is flexion and extension. Primarily, we're doing concentric extension. Yep, concentric extension. This one is another great one. This one is doing flexion extension, but he is obviously keeping his arms into internal rotation, and that's fine, is what we want. But you'll notice the repetitive nature of this exercise, which goes back to the repetitive nature of the grip. There's small little things. Your knees have a meniscus, your back has discs. They're these little kind of capsular things. They're very like tiny meniscus in your wrist, and they just respond better to repetition and repetition and repetition. So I mean, that's why he's kind of going fast. There's not a lot of weight on this one. This is probably one that I would start with to warm up your wrists. You'll be shocked if you warm up your wrists. The little muscle fibers, remember I told you there's a ton more in your hand. If you can wake those up just a little bit, very quickly, you'll notice that your elbows feel better, that your shoulder starts to feel better. There's just an endless amount of benefits to opening up your grip. But back and forth, the repetitive nature of this is also, he is lifting up with his shoulders. So this is just, again, a nice little shoulder warm up if you want. And it will also help to bulletproof your wrists. But yeah, pushing the knuckles down. This last one is probably the most advanced one. I would do a little lower weight. He's definitely going to get a lot of good shoulder rehab. The rotator cuff, like I said before, is a reactive muscle. So make sure that you treat it reactively. It's not going to respond to hypertrophy work, basically. You need to do reactive work like grip work. So we're just doing a little flip. So he's also going to be targeting the extensor muscles of his forearm, having to lift it up. He's also going to be warming up the back of his shoulder again. He's warming up the speed and flexibility of his shoulder. And then this last one is slaps. And this is a great, again, warm up. Look, your hands aren't going to feel warm, but once you get a bunch of blood flowing in, they'll feel looser, and they'll be able to help you with your elbow and your shoulder. But this one is just grip. You're getting a bunch of that radial and ulnar deviation, and then you switch it back and you do the opposite. It's super easy. This one actually feels great, especially as a doctor. I'm using my hands all day, doing manual therapy, helping people with rehab. I try to get 1 day a week with really good grip work. Now, every workout is a little bit of grip work, of course, but you need to emphasize a little bit of it in your training, especially if you're having problems with your elbow, with your shoulder, or everybody needs to be doing some sort of grip work. But anyways, I do like the repetition of this one, because I do think that is the best way that you can get your wrists and stronger and bulletproofed is repetition. You also get a little bit of bounce back with the slap. People look at you a little funny in the gym the first couple of times you do this, but do it. Honestly, it might be my favorite. The one with, this one here, with the knuckles down, going back and forth and going back and forth. I would start with this one, general population. Secondarily, I would go to the slaps. This would be the second one I would do, going forward, going back, getting lots and lots of reps in, and really at the end, try to squeeze and get it high, and then really slap it down. This might be a slow third. The just basically going back and forth. When you do this one, try not to let it extend or flex too much. You want to keep your wrist kind of straight. Imagine it's going down kind of a narrow alley here between the two. So you don't want it to kind of deviate one way or the other. Want to go straight up and straight down. So this would be my third. The next one would probably, honestly, the alternating catch grip one is pretty safe to do. I would do it. It's really good to warm up the shoulders. Grip work is shoulder warm up. If you're tired of doing those rotator cuff exercises, eyes, Y's, and T's with your shoulder, and you're not really noticing much, throw in the grip work. It will bulletproof your shoulders. I promise you. What's the last one? I would do, we need to do a podcast on this. This is a good one. It takes a little bit too long to set up. That's a great one. And the flip, save that for last. Don't do that one. Anyways, y'all, that's all I got for bulletproofing. Future-proof yourself. What is the bet? What do you think? What bullets are going to fly at you in the future? Kind of figure that out. Then you can kind of structure your bulletproofing session, your workout session to meet the incoming fire. Hope that was helpful. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe thing. We got a podcast. Y'all have a great day. Peace.